From WBBZ-TV Sports, it's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to Week 2 at Kerns Avenue Bowling Center in Buffalo, New York. I'm here with Jim Russo and Janelle Sabin to talk about this week's great bowling. So, 3 new people this week. We have Jeremy Zimmerman, who is no stranger to winning. We have Andy Redick, who's our first lefty, and we have John Danielewicz, who is just slow and steady and always seems to get the job done. What do you think?
The old veteran, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm not going to tell you who I think is who.
Well, we'll let everybody else decide who that is.
Yeah, you guys can determine that.
You know, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about bowling. Okay. And I think we're going to see some steady bowling. You know, we've got Pete, who's strong and very, very accurate and really can make balls, you know, the pin spin around. But we're going to have a left-hander, and we're going to have, Jeremy Zimmerman, who's always going to be interesting.
We see him win all the time, and it'll really put the pressure on these other guys to see what they're going to do, how they're going to adjust, and how they're going to be the top scorer today. So I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah. So let's stay tuned and see what happens. And Jim?
And we'll wish them all good luck and good bowling.
I'm on Beat the Champ with a familiar face, Jeremy Zimmerman, and his favorite cheering section. Tell us a little bit about your cheering section.
Well, this is Mr. Mason. He missed bowling, so I had to bring him back, and we're going to try and win today. Every time he's been here, we've won, so I figured bring him out and give it a shot.
I was going to say, he's your good luck charm, and he always likes to grab my microphone.
Yes, he does.
But he gets bigger and bigger all the time, so hope we'll keep seeing you here when he gets 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years old, right?
We can only hope. Hope he loves it.
All right. You bowl good, Jeremy, today.
Thank you.
Pete Maduri on your left, our incoming champion, against Jeremy Zimmerman. No stranger to being a champ here at Beat the Champ.
Jerry, it seems like every week we have somebody representing Lockport. Last week we had bowling royalty from the Lockport area in the Kenyon, Carl.
Yep.
And of course his brother Gary, another one of the long line of Kenyons from Lockport. Now Jeremy Zimmerman representing Lockport against our returning champ, Pete Maduri.
Yep, carrying the torch.
Got that out a little wide.
Yeah, that's a little different approach for Pete. He was playing him a little straighter up, I think, in last match that we saw last week. But I don't think we're going to see anybody play quite as deep as where Carl played. And
no, the lanes are, you know, fresh oils can be a little tighter, so they probably won't have to play as deep.
Right, and one of the things that you might see occur too is a little bit of carry down. Like they practice quite a bit on this pair, and now you're going to see that oil carry down just a bit.
Right.
And just change enough could have possibly, you know, created that 2-pin situation.
Right. I want to mention right at the top that Paul Peck is on assignment, and that's why you're stuck with me.
And
so.
me. Yep. Paul had another commitment today, but I'm sure we'll see him at Transit Lanes next
Oh yeah,
month.
he'll be back. And Jeremy opens up with a strike.
We need all the stats. Paul's the stat man.
Paul's
He
our
tells
stat
us.
man. Yeah, he knows everything there is to know anything
Right.
about, right?
Now we're going to throw him off because some of these incoming bowlers have created different stat situations. But we know that Jeremy is our winningest bowler. That we do know.
Yeah, and we'll see if Jeremy can go on another run here. Went inside, didn't like the shot, but it held pretty well for him.
Interesting thing about Jeremy, and we'll talk about it a little bit more next time he's up, that is that Jeremy plays the lanes almost the same way everywhere he bowls. He just manipulates bowling equipment, and that's definitely an option. That's something you can do, but he plays his game wherever they'll let him and just manipulates it with bowling equipment. Another look at Pete here.
And Pete coming back.
He
with
liked that. He
nice
walked right away
strong
from that shot,
yeah.
right off his hand.
He knew that one was there.
So he's opened up the lane a little bit. His target's a little bit to the right, not quite as deep as,
He was playing last week, right?
Right.
Looks like Jeremy went out and bought a nice shirt. with his winnings, all his winnings. He invested in that fancy
Lettering.
lettering. I like it. Yeah, Pete's looking pretty confident there, isn't he?
He's looking good, yeah. I was interested to see how he played that lane, because that lane seems to be a little snappier in the back end. And I'm blocked a little bit. I can't see, but he made the right adjustment there off that 2-pin. I think we're going to see a little higher scores this game.
Oh. When you were talking about equipment, I think that's one of the things that we're going to have to probably keep an eye on here. It looks like Jeremy, a little bit too much ball for that line that he was playing.
Switched balls, and that surprises me.
Yeah.
So when I saw that ball roll down the lane, I thought that was a little bit of a surprise, but you know, I'm sure he's got a reason for his decisions.
Yeah. Not too sure whether I would have made that switch right there.
No, because now he's back to the other ball in this lane. Great shot, good recovery.
This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
You know, you have to adapt it a little bit to more or less oil in the middle of the lane, but I still think that it holds true as far as a good starting point for not missing those left-hand spares, still using your strike target.
Right. I just think that some people are not under the ball when they're shooting at those left-hand spares. They tend to go on the side of the ball a little, and they don't have as much on the ball, so it doesn't get through the oil as well.
Right. Well, that's why if you change anything, like when you're shooting right to left, it's just safer to throw to use your same strike ball and not really try to change too much and try to keep it as simple as possible. Wow, what a shot. I thought he might have got that one a little bit right, and it just came back. Tells me right ball choice, right spot on the lanes.
Now we've just got to get a little replication.
Well, the lanes are a little different, so I think that's what's causing, I think Jeremy saw that the lanes were different. That's why he tried to use the more aggressive ball in lane 10, because 9 seems to hook a little bit more. But I don't think it's to that extreme. I think it's something you can definitely manipulate with your target. What a shot.
They're both getting to the pocket very well. It's just, at this point, it's just a matter of whether that 10-pin is going to go down for them, right?
Right. Well, this is a case where, we talked about break point last week, and, Jeremy is so down and in. And this is one case where they're not using the same break point, because Pete's definitely relying on getting it out to, like, board 10.
Right.
And Jeremy is definitely total right to left, just firing it at the pocket. But that's what he does, and he does it well. Back to the other ball that went a little high.
Yeah, he's not as decisive as you'd like to be at this point, right?
Totally agree.
You'd like to be able to be locked into what you're using.
It's hard to make
and your
adjustments.
line.
It's hard to make adjustments if you keep switching balls, because you can't tell how the lane is changing. I mean, it's okay to use one ball on each lane, a different ball on each lane, but when you're changing balls on the same lane, you do tend to miss the nuances that are going on, as the lanes kind of change a bit.
think he's trying to use a different ball on 9 as opposed to 10, right?
Right, he's using what seems to be a shinier ball, a ball that's going to go longer down the lane on 9. And it's been pretty good for him. I mean, he's missed his target in left, which has been, a real danger zone for everyone else. But because of his ball speed, because of his roll, and because of the equipment he's using, he's able to get away with that. I'm not quite sure why he's choosing to go back and forth on lane 10 with that ball.
Well, so far he's hanging in there.
He's hanging in there, and I think that's what he's looking
and
for.
we've got ourselves a match, and we're getting into the latter stages.
So Jeremy qualified with a 730, so he got into the top 24 with a 660, and then improved upon it when he bowled qualifying, and just missed winning that big screen HD TV that Dirt Cheap TV offers every single month to the high qualifier bowler. Just a few pins short of that.
And Pete throwing a triple up there. Yeah, Dirt Cheap TV, located on Niagara Falls Boulevard in Amherst, right across from Trader Joe's.
Another motivation to come out and bowl the qualifiers, because only 9 people are going to make the show, but that TV's open to anyone who qualifies. So you don't have to make the TV show to win that TV offered from Dirt Cheap TV. We talked a little bit about the importance of shot making because the scores really weren't that high, and Pete is the total example of shot making. He is focused every single shot that he goes up there. He's given a lot of thought. This isn't one of those where you can just breathe and just go up there and bowl. I mean, you've got to think about it and execute every single shot.
And Jeremy hanging on for dear life here.
Well, all Pete's going to need is any kind of count in the 10th. So he's actually got this pretty locked up.
Right,
and
Jeremy can go to 214. He looks like he's on his way to 214. Like you say, as long as Pete doesn't get into any trouble.
Yep, Pete's not.
He will be moving on.
Right. All Pete's got to do is keep it on the lane for 2 balls coming up in the 10th frame, and we'll be moving on to the next match.
He liked that, but finished just a little bit hard, left the 4, 6, 7.
Well,
but at this point,
well, that's going to do it. Pete's going to move on and to our next match here at Beat the Champ.
Whoa.
Great bowling out of Pete. We'll be back to talk to Jeremy and get his response to this match.
Yeah.
.254 to 200. So 254 is a huge score out there today, but tell us a little bit what happened. I saw you using 2 different balls on the lanes.
Well, Jeremy and his brain got in the way. I threw the first one, which I thought I threw good. And then I come back on the same lane, thought I threw it absolutely really good, and I split, and I just went away from my game plan. And before I know it, Pete the Monster struck again.
Yeah, well, this is a mental sport as well as a physical sport, right? So we got a little bit for you to make it better.
Jeremy, thank you. I know you came gunning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Well, Jeremy, we're glad you recovered from your surgery. We talked a little bit about Mancuso, so obviously you're feeling better, right?
Yes, fully healed, feel great, no pain at all, and it feels great to actually be back competing.
Okay.
No pain.
Okay, well, we'll see you at Transit Lanes then.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll be back for the next match here at Kerns Avenue Bowling Center. I'm here with John Danielewicz. Kind of getting to be a regular on Beat the Champ. I've seen a lot of you now, and I've got a ton of respect for your game. What do you see is the challenge today out here? Wood lanes?
Well, I got to use a whole different shot today. I'll be playing way left, not off the gutter like I usually do. So, hope it works. I'm not used to playing over there. So.
Well, one thing I notice about you is you do make good decisions, and you keep it relatively simple. But you know, everything you do is you repeat shots, and you make your decision and you go, right?
Yep, that's it. Name of the game. Got to hit the targets.
Okay. Well, good luck to you out there today.
Thank you very much.
Pete Maduri on your left, John Danielewicz on your right. Pete's opting to choose is opting to start this match. It's going to be an interesting match because John is very, very accurate and John's very precise, and we all know Pete's got it going on.
Yeah, he's keeping that speed, and I watched him during practice. He seemed like he was trying to play different lines to see if he could find anything else out there, and it'll be interesting to see what he ended up with.
That's very smart. You know, when you get a limited amount of practice, it's good to, you think you just want to try to throw strikes, but you don't. You want to know what your next step's going to be.
And he came up a little high. I noticed that a lot of bowlers, they'll walk into the center and they'll play whatever line they're comfortable with.
Right.
And they'll live and die
Right.
with that line. And, you know, you try to talk to them and you try to tell them, you know, you got to change. If you don't change, you do the same old thing, you get the same old
Right,
results.
but I mean, there's so many variables, and this is a game of variables. In everything, every aspect of it, there's variables. But you know, temperature plays a part.
Oh,
Anything.
absolutely.
There's just no way that nothing's ever going to, that it's always going to be the same week to week to week to week.
Exactly.
But I agree with you too. Lining up is one thing, and you get 10, 15 minutes of practice and you're striking, but you got to know what you're going to do after that, because that's just not going to last all day.
Right.
Our first look at John Danielewicz here. He's playing very deep on the lane for him.
Oh. And he came in a little high, left that 10 pin.
Good first shot. I'm used to, from seeing him in past shows,
Playing a little straighter up.
playing more to the right and much more surface. Like I've never seen John actually with a shiny bowling ball, which is the right choice for here. But he sort of relies on the ball not overreacting for him. He tries to keep it just very down and in, just not looking for any big hook.
So we open up the match with a couple of spares, and we're going to see if we can't start throwing some strikes here pretty soon. The more spares we throw, the more critical those strikes become. Huh? He didn't go as wide there, did he?
No.
He might have moved a little left, but he still kept it a little bit deeper than he was on lane 10.
Yeah, I just wasn't so familiar with him before I saw him on Beat the Champ, and I've seen him in a few different conditions now, and very impressed with how...
Maybe a little more versatile than you originally thought.
Yeah. Mainly because I haven't really come in contact with him with leagues or throughout bowling, but I'm very, very impressed with his game.
And Pete answering John's strike with a strike of his own.
You know, we talk a little bit from, watching the different bowlers about rev rate, and rev rate has come to play a big part in the game. And, even talking to Jack, why Jack's not bowling out on tour anymore is because everybody that's out on tour has high rev rates. And if you don't have that high rev rate, it's just hard to carry and hard to compete with their carry and how much lane they can open up. And, Pete's got a higher rev rate.
And he's putting it to good use right now. Well, I originally said in the first frame that we had some spares and we're going to have to start getting some strikes, and here they come.
Yep. Well, we got 2 solid games here, so I watch him line up, and I really think that he's going to play. He's going to open the lane up, but he does drift a bit to the right.
Yeah, there you go. He ends up, he starts left and ends up toward the middle of the lane.
Yeah, and that, I think that's something that, repetition's a big part of this game, but when you're drifting like that, it's hard to just repeat and repeat. That one got a little right on him.
John bowls at 3 distinctly different centers. He bowls at the Lewiston Event Center, he bowls at Transit Lanes, and he bowls at Bowladrome. So I think Bowladrome is wood, and I'm not sure about Lewiston Event Center, but we know that Transit is synthetic.
Right. Well, that's good. It gives him a little more experience and makes him see different shots, have equipment for everything, and that's good. The equipment you're going to use on one and what you're going to use on the other is probably going to be different.
Right. Talking to bowlers, a lot of bowlers don't even know what they're bowling on. You see, if they come from out of town, you say, well, what do you bowl? Or, are they synthetic? Are they? I don't know.
Do you ever have people ask you for the picture of the oil pattern?
We did, but I kind of mess with them a little bit and don't address it the way they'd like me to. I'll tell you why, because I don't believe that any pattern can be duplicated from center to center.
Right.
I think it's a myth. If they tell you, we'll put like the latest thing was the high school shot is going to be the Tower of Pisa. Well, the Tower of Pisa at Manor 2 and the Tower of Pisa at Kerns Avenue are going to be 2 completely different towers,
Oh, absolutely.
And if you put that same thing at Transit, it's going to be different. So they can't replicate the shot. If they tell you they can, they're lying to you.
Well, just in my experience alone from going to nationals and national tournaments where they give you the pattern, and to have a bowling center run it, I've had it ran at Transit Lane synthetic, and I've had it run at, say, the Edge, which is a wood place, and they didn't play remotely the same.
Ooh, that's the second 10-pin we've seen Pete miss.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
Great shot. We always have to make sure we mention the big screen HD TV that's given away from Dirt Cheap TV on Niagara Falls Boulevard.
Absolutely, right across the street from Trader Joe's in Amherst. And if you haven't stopped by there, they have more than great TVs too, by the way. And they have like every size of TV you'd ever imagine. They have the little ones that would be perfect for us right here. And then they have those like 75 inchers that I need on my ceiling in my bedroom.
You don't spend enough time in there, Jim.
So that I don't even have to.
It's bowling season.
Keep my head on the pillow. I don't even have to sit up.
Big shot here for Pete. Beauty.
And Pete putting the pressure on now. We'll see if John can answer the bell.
You always know it's a great shot when that 10-pin kicks to the left, kind of floats through the air. I like all kinds of strikes, but that's my favorite. Great shot.
Yeah. John's still hanging in there.
It's 18 pins now, and we're in that critical 9th frame where
Yep.
it's good that John posted a strike there, because you can just gain so many pins by having that strike up in the 9th and finishing off in the 10th. So he's looking at a possible 208. He's going to need every strike here. Force a double out of, to force Pete to double.
No room for error here.
No.
There's a shot, and
Oh, he chose to go a little bit lighter,
Yeah.
which was smart because when he was hitting flush, it was leaving a 10 pin.
leaving that
So
10.
he moved and went for the more swisher shot and got better ball reaction.
what do they say? Hit him thin and watch
Make 'em
him spin. I like to hit right on the nose, get one of those snowplow strikes.
Oh, that's because it aggravates
because
your
it
opponent.
aggravates my opponents. And if I can do that enough,
Who said there was no defense in bowling?
oh,
Wow, that was another great shot.
so he's going to finish with 197. Pete doesn't have to do a whole lot to close this one out.
Nope, he's going to have to. He's going to have to get a spare. Yep. He's going to have to spare here in the 10th. Doesn't need the strike, but he does need the spare.
Yeah, an open would give him like 196.
193. Yeah, 190.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Again, your mind is working much faster than mine. Of course, your mind is much younger than mine too.
Not
So
that much.
that, not much. A lot of silence here. And, well,
Don't say it. Okay, needs one pin here. Needs to make this spare and get a little bit of count. I'm betting he would like to just carry that one and get it out of the way.
me too. The degree of difficulty kind of rises with the situation, right? And
Most
this
certainly.
one is as tough as they get. For the match. And there's our
Great
winner.
job. Great job.
Look at that.
He bounced that out so well, it's sitting in the middle of the lane.
That's right.
We're gonna have to get somebody out there to get that pin off.
Get a throw when it's on the opposite side road. Got to time it.
No, actually, no, that would make it illegal. You touch that pin, it's illegal, correct?
Touch that pin, it's illegal. We're going to have the personable Dan Adams go out. Look at that, the owner actually working. I didn't think the owners of bowling centers worked.
That's what you told me.
That's what they told me, but Dan is one of the great proprietors in the area, always supporting everything. Anything that has to do with youth bowling, Dan is right there. And he gets a big hand of applause. Dan has been the supporter of the Beat the Champ show since its inception, or since its return, I should say. And just one of the great guys. He's active in everything in bowling. He goes to all of the conventions. He stays up on what's going on. And he's in the inner city, and one of our great owners of the Bowling Proprietors Association.
205 to 197. Close match here. Pete's on top. I'll be back to talk to John Danielewicz right after this. .205 to 197. Came down to the very last frame. Few corner pins there that got in the way.
Oh, yeah. Definitely the corner pins killed me in this game. Yeah, I had to use an alley ball to make the 10 pin too, so it was a big difference.
All right, well, you overcame the challenge very well. I mean, it came down right to the very end, but
Tried to put some pressure, but he made a great shot on that split, and that was the whole game there.
absolutely. So Dan's got a little bit for you here.
Ready. All right, I thank you so much for bowling here at Kerns. Hope to see you again sometime soon.
I'll be back.
Thank you.
one of our better competitors here, John Danielewicz. And we'll be back to for the third match here, Andy Rettig. I'm here today at Beat the Champ with Andy Redick, one of our competitors today. So throughout competition, it seems like the bowlers have sort of moved into your side of the lane because you're left-handed. Does that make any difference to you while you're bowling?
I hope not. I'm just going to try and stay left of where they are and make some good shots.
So you'll be the first left-hander that's been out on the lane condition today. Do you look at that as a plus or a minus?
Hopefully it's a plus. Got my own way over there, nobody in the way, and just throw the ball.
Okay, well, we'll see how that plays out for you.
All right, thanks.
Pete Maduri on your left, Andy Redick on your right. Pete's going to opt to start the match. Why stop? What's working for you?
Well, Andy is our first left-hander, so he's going to try the other side of the lane. If he doesn't, there's something really wrong, right?
Right, and historically, right? That would make it interesting.
Yeah.
Pete probably would appreciate that. Yeah, so we haven't seen at all how the left side of the lanes play here. And, you know, everything comes down to carry. Sometimes houses have better carry for the left-handers. Is that not true?
Well, according to the righties. You know,
well said.
If the lefties are scoring well, they say it's a left-handed house. If the righties are scoring well, the lefties say it's a right-handed house. But I don't know. I think, you know, there used to be years ago, we used to have such a great bunch of left-handed bowlers.
Right.
You know, and the left-handed bowlers were just better. They were just better, you know.
Right.
And they used to go into any center and just score well. You know, they had that opportunity where they were bowling on the left side. It doesn't change as much. They had a more consistent shot.
But they were just that good, too. You're right. It was a talented, very, very talented group of left-handed bowlers we had in Western New York. I'm not now. I better not mention anybody because I'll leave out a bunch of people. Right.
But we did. We just had a lot of left-handed bowlers who were dominant maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. Not so much today, I don't think. I don't think there are as many great lefties, but we're seeing one over here on lane number 10. And the nemesis for a right-hander is a 10-pin. Nemesis for the left-hander is a 7-pin.
Right, right.
And Andy comes up and leaves a 7-pin.
Well, I think that one of the things you notice, and it's simply because the lanes don't change as much, left-handers don't generally have to move in as much as right-handers. So you don't see them opening up the lane as much. It seems like you see a lot of down and in from left-handers simply because they're not breaking down the lane.
Right. Once they find it, they're generally able to stay with it a little bit longer than a right-hander.
I've always thought it looked amazing when left-handers were playing it, because you just don't see it that often.
Right.
You know, lefties open up the lane. But you're right, there's many that could do that well.
I remember years ago, there used to be a theory and another 7-pin. So John had a little bit of trouble with the 10 pins, and it looks like Andy's going to have to contend with these 7 pins. I remember someone telling me that a left-handed bowler, a natural motion is for them because everything you do is clockwise. So the bowling motion for a lefty is much what you need to bowl well, as opposed to a right-hander where it's the opposite motion for the right-hander. You're used to doing everything clockwise, but for bowling, you have to be counterclockwise.
I've never heard that before. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I just made it up.
Oh, how it works.
No, I did hear that somewhere, though. Somebody told me that that's why younger kids, when they're throwing left-handed, they tend to have a hook ball much earlier than a right-handed bowler.
Or it would tell you why naturally kids will start out with throwing it
a backup
ball.
Right.
Because that's naturally where the hands go. Another 4-pin.
So we have ourselves a spare fest here to begin this game.
Yeah, they're just fishing around trying to find that strike shot. I think Pete started with a 4-pin last game too, and he'll just have to make little adjustments. You know, that's subtly warning you to make a move.
Right, right. See that 4-pin, you know, you might need to move a little.
Yep. Because after the 4-pin comes the big 4, and you don't want that.
That's right.
All right. Well, solid on their spares for the first 2 frames. And there we have the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Janelle's making her diagonal lines very well today.
She's doing good. She's having a lot of practice.
Yep.
Janelle's back, well, she was back last week, but she took the week before off, and we had Sarah Rock. And Sarah since has won a scholarship tournament.
Well, great for her.
Boy, I'll tell you, those Orchard Park girls are really on a tear. They've got a heck of a team.
Great
As
job.
coach of a girls' high school team, I'm a little jealous. Sarah and Paige Bartos, and who else is on that team? Daniel Milo. And I'm going to forget somebody. And there's another one on the team that's really good, and hopefully by...
Yeah, there's nothing like a dream team, believe me. I'm lucky I was on one.
Yeah.
And
Well, they've got
those are good
themselves
times.
one in Orchard Park.
there we go. They both figured it out at the same time.
I guess.
So they needed one shot in each lane under the lights.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
It's always nice. We get a mix of familiar faces. There's always a few new ones sprinkled in. This month we've had so far, some people that have made the show, but not been constant.
Right.
Great job.
Obviously, you're going to have the return of a lot of bowlers who we've seen before because they're the top bowlers in the area.
That's right. That's right.
So,
you can't forget that. They're just...
How would you expect to have like a whole different cast of characters
Right.
when the people you have are the very best to begin with?
I think it's going to get interesting now because people are preparing to go to nationals. The national tournament, everybody starts bowling that come February, March, April. Start traveling over. It's in Syracuse this year.
Right.
So.
Oh, and there's
great
the dreaded
shot, though.
7-pin.
So you're going to see a lot more Western New York bowlers packing it up and driving it to 2.5 hours.
Right.
You don't have the travel of going to Las Vegas or Reno.
Right. And if you come out for the qualifier, you also have the opportunity of winning that Dirt Cheap TV from Dirt Cheap TV, located in Amherst on Niagara Falls Boulevard, right across from Trader Joe's. And I like to mention that they have a lot of other things other than Dirt Cheap TVs. They have a lot of little toys that you can projectors. Those big screen projectors. They have the DVD players, all kinds of accessories and other things. So I recommend you stop by Dirt Cheap TV and see what they have. There's Andy and another 7-pin.
Well, so far this has been a game where no one has missed the pocket, and it's really just come down to carry.
Of course, that's small consolation to Andy at this point, who's falling behind pretty quickly. Oh, and a rare miss of the 7-pin for Andy.
That was a big miss.
Andy bowls Saturday afternoons in a travel league. It goes all over Western New York. The Bowling Proprietors Association, a sponsor of that travel league. The Bowling Proprietors also sponsor the Pepsi League along with Pepsi.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we try to do our part. There's
Senior league as well?
Senior League on Fridays, yeah, and we give away $8,000 in scholarships every month. So if you're not bowling in a center that's sponsored by the Bowling Proprietors or are not a member of the Bowling Proprietors Association, I suggest you look. If your child bowls at a center that isn't a member, they're not able to take advantage of those scholarship opportunities that we offer.
Wow.
So you may want to take a look and just see if they're a member.
And we heard a little bit of that when we get the high school bowlers and how much money they've actually been able to accumulate through the scholarship program is amazing.
Oh, it's just, they have their smart accounts, and some of them have so much that they need to add very little.
I think your nephew Ryan, he's accumulated quite a bit.
Ryan just won himself another $500 scholarship in the holiday tournament at Tonawanda Lanes. So I'm remiss because I don't know who the other winners were of the 500, but there's 4 $500 scholarship winners, and Ryan won the Boys Open. So. Yeah, he did very well, and he's amassed himself a nice little, nice little fortune.
And we've seen quite a few of those high school students on the shows, that we've done on our fourth shows. It's made it interesting, and it's really interesting to know that they have the ability to make this money through bowling.
All right.
What a shot. That was important because he still needs to get into the 230s, and he still has the ability to post a 236 out there.
Right. That one came in a little more of an angle than the last two.
Well,
that, left
he may have changed up a bit because he's lost his carry just a hair.
So it's one of the higher scoring matches that we've had so far.
Yes. Now, we've seen a few more missed corner pins than we have in times past, but we've left a lot of corner pins too.
That one came up a little high, unfortunately. Left a 2-4.
Well, that's pretty much going to make Pete our winner on the bench. He's just got to get, 8 pins and 2 balls.
I got a feeling he'll be able to do that. And I want to mention again that our good friend Paul Peck is away on assignment, but he will be back next month. So in the meantime, you're doing a great job filling those big old shoes of his.
They are big shoes, I'll tell you that. I give a lot of respect for what he does over here. And I've always said that, sitting over there, and I'm always, answering, leading me with all the questions. It's a difficult job that he does.
Yeah, you're learning that, and I'm learning how difficult your job is. And you guys both do a great job when you're together. So, got a good team going there.
Thank you. We've gotten to be very good friends in the process.
And that should about do it, huh?
Yeah, that's it. He was actually in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he wanted a high score, but he'll have an opportunity next match.
Yep, and our winner, Pete Maduri.
Yep, we'll be back to wrap this up right after this. .235 to 216. Great match, kept it close to the very end. Got caught with a few 10 pins there, 7 pins at the end. Little corner pins got in your way.
It did, and then I missed a one, and Pete took full advantage. Bowled real well today.
Okay, well, we've got a little something for you here from Dan.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you're very welcome, Andy, and thank you for bowling here.
It was a Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Okay, now over to Pete, our winner of the show.
I've got our champ, Pete Maduri. And Pete, I told you last week, go out, get some practice, get some rest, come back, and this week you strung them. So 3 up, 3 down, and I guess go get some practice and get some rest and come back next week and do it again.
Yeah, definitely need the rest. That was a great match. I really believe Andy bowled a little better than I did. Just a lot of bad breaks out there, so happy to win that match and come back next week.
Yeah, I think the 7 pins got him.
Yeah, the 7 pin was definitely up a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're here to wrap up week 2 at Kerns Avenue Bowling Center here in Buffalo, New York. Great help from Jim Russo here to talk about the great bowling. What do you think of Pete Maduri?
Boy, I'll tell you, Pete's on a tear. He's just throwing that ball like I don't think anybody could throw it any better.
Right, and Janelle, we talked a little bit about scoring and about a little bit of making shots. They really did up their game and get those scores up, didn't they?
They got the scores up. They're adjusting to the conditions, and that's what led Pete to sweep the week.
Right, so it was such great bowling, and we look forward to more great bowling next week, so we'll see you then.